degrees if I went all the way around. How many degrees is that? 360. Now we're referring to it as 2 pi radians. So 360 is the same as 2 pi radians. Okay. So let's do some converting. Let's draw the unit circle around the side. If I have 0 degrees, I have 0 pi. So 0 degrees, let me get out of this view, is 0 pi. Okay. 0 radians. That kind of makes sense, right? Kind of, sort of. Okay, so 0 degrees is 0 pi. If 360 is 2 pi, what's half of 360? 180. So how much do you think 180 degrees is? 1 pi. Okay, so 180 is just pi. Okay, well, what's half of 180? 90. What's half of 1? Half. So our 90 degrees is pi over 2. Okay, our 270 is 3 pi over 2. And then, like we said, 360 is 2 pi. Okay, so those are kind of our
So y
base.
is 270, 3 pi over 2.
Okay, so if my 90 is pi over 2, right, that's half.
So is it basically just 1.5?
1.5, yep. Because we're over the 1.
What's 180?
What, and 0 just pi?
0 is 0 pi. And then 360, if I go all the way around, is our 2 pi. Okay. Kind of, sort of?
Yeah.
Okay. To convert between radians and degrees, we have these conversions. Now, they may look kind of confusing, but they're really just kind of like how you would convert between inches and feet. Okay, you remember when you had, like, I don't know, let's say 2 feet and I want to put it into inches. What would you do? Times it by 12. Well, I don't know if you guys remember ever seeing it like this. You ever have the fraction where you had to, like, cancel feet and feet?
Science.
Yeah,
Like
science
chemistry.
stuff. Yeah. Well, it's just the same sort of thing, okay? So if I'm given degrees and I want to convert to radians, I want to cancel out the degrees, so my degrees are going to go on the bottom. Okay? So, like, well, let's look at our 127 degrees. I have degrees. I want to make it radians. So to cancel out degrees, my degrees have to be on bottom. Okay? So I need to times it by pi and divide by 180. Okay? If I have it in radians and I want to get to degrees, my radians has to be on the bottom to cancel. So we would times by 180 and divide by pi. Okay? Does that kind of make sense, the conversion? Okay, now let's actually do them. So if I want to take 127 degrees to radians, I'm going to multiply by pi and divide by 180. Okay, so I have 127 times pi divided by 180. What is that? You can leave the pi.
So
What's 127 divided by?
when we put it in, do you want us to like hit the pi key or?
No, we're gonna leave the pi as part of our radian measurement.
Oh, so don't.
So we're just dividing the numbers.
Okay.
So 127 divided by 180. So like 0.7. Okay, down here we'll get a little more specific. We're not gonna do decimals, so that's okay for now. To get from radians to degrees, I have 4 pi. And to get rid of my pi, I'm gonna divide by pi. Well, what happens if I have pi divided by pi? They cancel. So all I'm doing is taking 4 times 180, which is how much? 720. Okay. So pretty much what you're doing to get radians is dividing by 180 and leaving the pi. To get degrees, you're just timesing by 180 and getting rid of your pi. So when you have radians, you're adding a pi, divide by 180. When you want degrees, you're timesing by 180 and getting rid of pi. Okay, I think you'll kind of see those patterns as we go along. Okay, we are gonna write degrees in radians. So if I have negative 210 degrees, what needs to go on bottom when I multiply? Degrees, so my 180. The reason we use 180 in pi is because that's kind of like 1 pi, 1 unit. You could use 360 and 2 pi, but that's kind of, I don't know, more work than you need. So pi is going on top. So all we need to do is take negative 210 and divide by 180. That's all we're doing. Do you guys have fraction to decimal keys on your calculators?
Yeah.
Use them. You don't?
Yeah.
You probably do. Because we want fractions. So when I take negative 210 and divide by 180, what do I get?
Well, doing the fraction.
Fraction, yeah.
1, -1, 1/6.
Okay, so you have negative 1 and 1/6, okay? On there, can you make it not a mixed number, or is that not an option?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I can.
When we do these, we always want to use improper fractions. We don't want like a 1, 2, 3 out front. You guys remember how to get improper fractions? 1 times 6 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So we're going to have negative 7, 6, pi. Okay. This one does ask for the decimal rounded to the nearest hundredth. So take that negative 7/6 and times it by pi. And what do we get?
-3.66.
So 6, 7. Okay. This is probably the only time that we will care about this. Other than that, we are using our radian measure. Okay. Kinda, sorta. Okay, B, it says take 260. What do I do to 260? Divide by 180. Divide by pi. As a fraction, what is 260 divided by 180? As a mixed fraction.
Uh, 13/9.
13 pi over 9. As a decimal, so take 13/9 times pi. 4.5.
So how?
What's up?
I don't know how to put in the fraction form. Wait, what's its?
Okay, so we got 260 divided by 180. Okay, and then see this after the Alright. Anybody else calculator problems?
quick question.
Yeah.
Why can't we just take like 260 divided by 180 and then times pi?
Sure can.
So why are we reducing it to a different improper?
Like, why don't we leave it as 260 over 180?
Yeah, like because if I take 260 divided by 180 and times that times pi, I get the same answer.
Yeah. So your decimal form, we don't really use. This is probably the only time we use decimal form. The ninths and sixths will help us as we venture on to the next step. So it's kind of like how we want everything in like 30, 60, and 45s. Those sixes and nines will help us. But yeah, to get the decimal form, you can just divide and multiply. Okay, other questions? Okay. If I'm given radians, so I have 2.65. If I want to get rid of radians, what has to go on the bottom of my fraction? Pi, what has to go on top? 180. Okay, so take 2.65 times 180. You what?
477.
So I have 477 over pi. If I put that in my calculator, what do I get? 477 divided by 3.14.
151.19.
So 152?
Yeah.
152 degrees. Okay. There's no pi to cancel in A because we were given 2.65. Radians doesn't mean, like 2.65 radians isn't the same as 2.65 pi. You know what I mean? Kinda, sorta. So the radians doesn't mean pi. Okay, whereas in B, I have a pi in there. Okay, so I have negative 5 pi over 6. It's in radians. I'm going to use the same conversion. So times 180 divided by pi. This time, what happens with my pi's? They cancel. So all I'm doing is taking negative 5 times 180 divided by 6. Negative 150. Okay. How are you feeling so far? Good. Okay. Questions here?
So you just say it times 180 is.
When there is a pi, the pi's will cancel, so just take your thing times 180. Your number, your thing. Okay. This next stuff is what I was talking about being related to our previous stuff. Okay. This stuff right here, finding our cosine and sine of each angle measure, does that sound familiar? Using our unit circle. This is part of the no calculator stuff on the next quiz and on the test. Okay. So those of you that need to go and refresh yourself with the unit circle before, we're gonna use it again. You. Okay. Some stuff I want you to write down are some conversions. Like I said, we're gonna use, what we used a lot is 30 degrees. Okay. You know how 90 degrees was pi over 2? How many 30 degrees are in 90? There's 3. So if I need to split pi over 2 into 3 ways, I'm going to have pi over what? What's 2 times 3? 30 degrees in radians is pi over 6. Okay. 60 degrees in radians is pi over 3. How I memorize these is it's opposite. The 30 is divided by 6, the 60 is divided by 3. You can also think of it as there's more 30 degrees, so it makes sense that that's the bigger number. However you want to think about it. The other one we had was 45 degrees. Again, how many 45 degrees are in 90? 2. So if 90 is pi over 2, 45 is going to be pi over 4. Good. Okay, those will help us to complete our unit circle. Okay? Alright. Diving in. We have 5 pi over 6 radians. Okay? Is that less than 1 pi or bigger than 1 pi? How do I know it's less than 1 pi?
It's not.
Yeah, because 5/6 is less than 1, right? Okay. If I have a 6 on the bottom, am I looking at a 30, 60, or 45 degree triangle? A 30. Okay. This is kind of how I think about this stuff. So I know that it's close to 1, right? So I'm close to 180, but I'm only off 1 pi over 6, which is 30 degrees. Does that kind of make sense?
What?
I have no clue.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is how we
So-
plot them.
And then it's the same stuff as last time. Okay, so this is close to 1 pi, right?
Sure.
What fraction would I need to complete this as 1 pi? 1/6. What degree measures 1/6?
Oh. No.
30, right? Yeah. 30 is 1/6. So since I'm 1/6 away from being 180, that means I'm 30 degrees off. Okay. Kind of. Because 180 is 1 pi.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Then it just turns into everything we've done before. If this is my hypotenuse 1, across from 30 is what? Half. Across from 60 is square root of 3 over 2. Are any of them negative? My x. Okay. Same thing. Cosine is your x, sine is your y. Okay, so my cosine is my x, which is negative root 3 over 2. Sine is my y, which is 1/2. Okay. This next one's easier. Pi over 2 is our what? 90. So on our unit circle, we're up here. What was that point? 0, 1. Okay. Cosine x, sine y. What is the cosine of my angle? 0. What's the sine of my angle? 1. Okay. Questions there? No questions? Let's jump down to D real quick, then we'll come back to C. Okay. 7/4. Is that more than 1 or less than 1?
More than one.
More than 1. It's close to what, Courtney? Close to 2. How many fourths am I away to making it 2? 1. Does that make sense? Because if I have 8/4, that's 2, right? So I'm 1/4 away. Okay? So I'm almost to 360. So I'm in this bottom quadrant, right? Does that make sense?
No, it wouldn't be past 180.
Yep, past 180. So like, if I make the whole thing, like here's 360, here's 270. Okay. You said I need what to complete? 1/4, which is what angle? 45. So I'm at 45 degrees right here. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay, now we're just completing our circle. Again, hypotenuse 1. What are the legs of our 45/45s? Root 2 over 2. Are any of them negative?
No.
The one going down, right? Okay. Cosine x, so our cosine is our positive square root of 2 over 2. Sine is our y, so our negative square root of 2 over 2. Okay, questions there? A little bit better? Okay, let's go back up to C. I'm gonna erase this black stuff. Okay. I am at negative 4 pi over 3. Okay, so I'm bigger than what?
180.
180. Okay, now remember we're going negative, so I'm going this way. I know I'm more than 180, right? 180 or 1 pi would be 3 over 3, right? So I have one more additional pi over 3, correct?
So would you be at 60?
I'd be at 60. Good, Hayden. So this angle here, by our origin, is 60. Does that make sense? Okay. Across from 60 is square root of 3 over 2. Our other one is 1/2. Are any of them negative? A half. Cosine and sine. Cosine is my x, so I'm at negative a half. Sine is my y, so I'm at square root of 3 over 2. Okay. I know it's new stuff as far as the radians. How we feel? Kinda, sorta. Okay.